It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup better be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Montreal, the everyday and the extraordinary. The Elias Macco Show on CJAD 800.
Trudy Mason sitting in for Elias again this week. We seem every week to be talking about some new aspect of social media use by young people or by adults, because this is not exclusively an issue affecting young people, although I think there's a lot more concern about younger users really getting caught in that spiral, spending a lot of time scrolling or doom scrolling on social media. I'd like to introduce you to a young Quebecer who recognized perhaps a little bit of a problem in his own use of social media and decided to do something about it. He built a new platform that is designed to counter social media addiction. We welcome to CJAD 800 Alexis Bossé, founder of Livio. Alexis, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. First of all, how old are you, Alexis?
I'm 21 years old.
21. Are you still in school?
Yeah, in university.
And what are you studying?
I'm not sure what would be the name in English, but it's a certificate en entrepreneuriat, like certificate in business, I guess, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, entrepreneurship. You want to run your own company. You're making a great start with your platform.
Thank you.
Tell us about what sparked Livio.
Yeah, the idea really came to mind because I was living the issue with social media. My screen time was way too high, and I was losing confidence with myself. My first thought was to delete social media, but when you delete social media, you get a bit isolated, and I wanted to find a solution that could keep me in contact with my friend without still being so bad for my screen time and for my health, my mental health.
So you wanted to strike a balance. You didn't want to give up social media entirely. You still wanted to keep in touch with what friends were posting on social media, for example. How does Livio help you to do that?
The main difference with Livio is it doesn't have an algorithm or suggested content. So the only content you'll see is what your friend posts. So once you've seen everything, there's nothing left to do on the app. So I just encourage you to close the app and go back to real life.
So this would tackle the type of scrolling where you're just surfing from one thing, maybe something a friend posted, to some content that was suggested by the algorithm that you might be interested in reading. And so you read that, and then the algorithm suggests something else. And the next thing you know, you're going down a rabbit hole and you might not like where you end up.
Yeah, that's the main issue right now with social media, and that's why we have a screen time that is way too high. It's because it's, I want to say, too interesting, and we want to keep watching, but we gotta stop. It's sometimes it's way too much.
Too interesting, too tempting, and too alluring in not a good way. I think, especially, I think a lot of parents would think of it in that sense.
Yeah, for sure.
How has your screen time evolved now that you're using your own platform, Livio? How many hours have you gone to before and after?
Before, I could easily spend 6 to 8 hours. It was really bad. Right now, I don't think I spend more than 30 minutes on Livio.
And those 30 minutes spent exclusively on the content that your friends and acquaintances are putting online?
Yeah, so I'm just viewing what my friend posted, reacting to them, and texting with them just to keep up to date.
Is that enough to have you feeling like you're not missing out?
Yeah, that's perfect, because my friends are posting their daily life. I'm posting my daily life. So I'm getting the news I wanted on social media. That was my mission at first when creating my account. So yeah, for me, it's the perfect solution. And I think it is for a lot of people because that's what I'm getting as feedback from users.
How long did it take you to develop this app?
I've been working on it since the beginning of 2026, so about 7 months.
And the reaction so far, how many users have signed on with you?
I don't have a precise number, but the app really blew up like 2 days ago when the news started to talk about it. And yesterday we were the 13th most downloaded social media on the App Store. So that's pretty incredible.
That is. Is there a charge for Livio?
Right now it's completely free. I want to keep it free for users. That's another question I get a lot. How do I make money? Right now I'm not making any money. I'm just losing some money. I'm going to have to find a business model, but I want to really talk with active users to find a healthy business model that will be good for them and good for me.
Do you think that the users are mainly adults who are recognizing a problem in themselves, as you did, with your social media use? Or is this parents signing up their kids and saying, if you want to be on social media, this is the only way I'm going to allow you to be on social media?
Right now, I think it's mostly people taking the decision for themselves. I'm sure parents will want to take that decision. I'll let them deal with that. But right now, it's more people that know there is a problem and are actively searching for a solution that I propose right now.
I guess if a parent signs up a reluctant teenager, a reluctant teenage child, the teenager could always just, delete the app and go back to the bad old days, the bad habits, right? So
of course.
It helps if they are on board, recognizing as you did. How old were you when you did recognize your social media use was consuming too much of your time? Was it fairly recently?
No, it's been a long time, probably since I was 17. But I just couldn't find a solution that for me was really interesting. So that's why I decided to make it myself.
What did you try before you came up with Livio? Did you go with one of those timers, that automatically turns off the social media after a certain amount of time? Yeah,
there's a lot of apps to limit your screen time. I'd say they can work for some people. For me, it didn't. And my issue with them was that I was texting my friend on social media. So if I put myself a limit of 15 minutes, it will limit the fact that I was texting my friend. So I don't think we should limit our social connection. So that didn't work out. Then I tried to delete them, but as I said before, I was feeling isolated by deleting them. So that's why I wanted to create my own solution.
Does the Livio app involve any education where you're explaining to users, this is why we designed it this way, this is why I structured it this way? It's because the apps, the other social media platforms manipulate you into consuming more and more content?
When you're creating your account, you're getting an onboarding, which I'll be explaining the goal of the app and why we took those decisions. After that, no, I'm not putting out some education. I think that when you download the app, you already know what you're getting into. So the education, I kind of make it in my ad for the app.
The name of the app is Livio. That is spelled Lyvio. And Alexis, where do people find it?
It's on the App Store for iOS. And for Android, I'm still on a beta version. If you want to download it, you can ask for access to the beta on my website, so livio.app, and you'll have access to the beta for Android.
Alexis, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Alexis Bossé is founder of Livio, and once again, that is spelled Lyvio, and the website is livio.app.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup better be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back
2010s, the decade.
to the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd.
and more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away. Debate, interviews, and breaking news. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Overcast day in Montreal. Of course, we do have those showers and possible thunder showers in the forecast. Right now, it's sticky, 22 degrees, the humidex 29. I came out of the house this morning. Wow, I felt like I needed to go back in and take a shower. So sticky. We are talking about something that happens during summer that is a bit of a puzzle. Medicine has looked into it. Summertime, often we relax our habits during summer. It's a little bit more carefree. So when it comes to diet, we may allow ourselves a few extra treats, the ice cream or the burger at a backyard barbecue and so on. But a new report says health professionals in Quebec are seeing an increase in eating disorder cases and consultations during the summer months. Dialogue Health Technologies reports a 57% jump in eating disorder and nutrition counseling consultations in Quebec. Why is this happening? Here to answer the question for us, Dr. Marc Robin, Medical Director for Dialogue Health Technologies. Dr. Robin, thank you for joining us on CJAD.
My pleasure, Trudy.
How did you look into this? How did you come up with that number, 57% jump in eating disorder and nutrition counseling consultations?
So Dialogue Health Technologies is a virtual care platform founded in Montreal 10 years ago. Maybe 10 million Canadians right now have access, 2.6 million in Quebec. And so we have a number of people consult us for many things, including eating disorders and nutritional counseling. And what we've noted over the years is two things. The first one, year over year, almost twice as many people in the summer consult for eating disorders or nutritional counseling. That's just absolute volume increase. Maybe that's a great thing, and it represents people actually reaching out and wanting to talk about issues that are concerning them. The second thing is there is a seasonal pattern. This is not new necessarily of this year, but there's a seasonal pattern in eating disorders and nutritional counseling requests, which spikes in the summer. So the numbers you've stated, 57% increase summer months over rest of year. And more particularly in the group aged 17 to 25, almost 73% increase over in the summer months. This is a seasonal increase that is predictable. Summer represents an opportunity of prevention and early detection, and that's why we're glad to associate ourselves with the ANEB, Anorexia and Bulimia Quebec, to create awareness about the subject.
Why is it summer, though?
It's a great question. I think summer removes some of the protective structures around, if we talk about kind of the 17 and 25-year-old group that's more at risk. At the same time, that pressures related to body appearance seem to increase. Summer is not the cause of eating disorder, but it does increase the risk for those who are susceptible. And I think on one side, you have the loss of routines, whether it's school schedules, structured meals, and kind of the regular daily routine that kind of disappears a little bit in the summer. There may be less contact with friends and teachers as such, and certainly a greater pressure related to appearance. It's just a season of lighter clothes, more social activity, and probably social media, image projected by social media doesn't help.
I guess the question is, what can be done with the information? Does an inquiry usually translate into the acceptance of counseling?
That's a great question. The first, that's the message here. The reaching out, talking about it is the first step. Because if you can reach out and talk to somebody about a concern, whether it's about why am I thinking so much about food, why am I so concerned about my body or so rigid in exercising, then we can start putting solutions together. And hopefully it remains in kind of the realms of a preoccupation and less likely to become a problem. And often it starts, very insidiously, skipping a meal here and there, eliminating certain categories of food, or, having kind of more increasingly rigid rules around food or exercise, and feeling guilty, or after eating, for example. And if we can address some of those concerns early, of course, there's a greater likelihood that we can have a better relationship with food, and a more secure relationship with food and our bodies and our exercise routine.
What advice would you have for parents or people close to individuals who may be showing signs that they're struggling with issues surrounding their eating, with disordered eating?
I think it's lead with empathy and listen, right? Maybe choose a private or calm moment, and avoid kind of being judgmental or commenting about weight or anything, but just maybe just describe an observation. Notice that you seem to be avoiding meals with us recently, or but speak with compassion and curiosity, listen, and encourage that person to open up and hopefully reach out for professional help. And that could be through an associate like ANEB, who will answer the phone. They work with text, phones, and video, and in person. And if you have access to a virtual care platform like Dialogue, and a lot of students association would have access, then we'll be happy to just listen and talk about it.
And is Dialogue Health Technologies a referral, or does your organization actually provide the counseling?
So Dialogue Health Technology is a virtual care platform for primary care, mental health, and preventative health that is funded by employers, organizations, or associations. And I was mentioning a lot of students association, for example, provide those services to their students. And so we would offer the care, whether through a nutritionist or through mental health support for those as needed for those who reach out.
Dr. Marc Robin, I thank you very much for the information.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Dr. Marc Robin, Medical Director for Dialogue Health Technologies. After the 10:30 update, in our in-transit segment, we will look at just how safe driverless cars are. Some early research is showing, they're safer than having a human being behind the wheel. We'll get into that in a moment.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back
2010s, the decade.
to the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katie, Gaga, The Weeknd,
And more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.
La STM vous souhaite la bienvenue à bord.
This is your stop. In Transit with Elias Mackos, CJAD 800.
Some new data out of the U.S. is helping, at least starting to help answer the question about the safety of driverless cars. This comes in the form of a study for the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and is suggesting that, in fact, driverless cars may be safer than those driven by humans. This is after the analysis of more than 50 million miles of fully autonomous driving by Waymo vehicles. Here to tell us more about the study is David Kidd, Vice President of Vehicle Research at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Trudy.
Tell us about how you gathered the data, 50 million miles worth of data.
So in the U.S., the companies that have deployed automated vehicles with driverless cars, they're required to report when their vehicle gets into a crash, regardless of how severe it is, and that reporting has changed over time. And so what we did is we went and we looked at this database of crashes from driverless cars, and we read narratives. And based upon that narrative, we judged if that crash was severe enough that any reasonable person like you or I would report that to a police. And that allowed us to compare those crashes to crashes that are reported to police that involve human drivers. We were only able to do this analysis with Waymo vehicles because Waymo is the only automated vehicle company that voluntarily provides mileage information. That allows us to get the rates that one is involved in a crash. And so that was the process that we did. It was a lot of reading.
I can imagine. And how many cities how much area of the U.S. were you able to cover with your data?
Yeah, so we were able to get an overall rate based upon the deployment of Waymo vehicles in Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Austin. So that's only 4 cities. And really the study period was older too. It was 2021 to 2024. So Waymo has deployed in numerous additional cities, and the mileage has increased exponentially since then.
Tell us about the chief finding, the safety finding about Waymo vehicles. Safer than those driven by humans?
The crash rate for Waymo vehicles was 68% lower than human-driven ones in the areas that they deployed. And I think that's a key caveat to all of this. We're only looking at the cities and the jurisdictions where Waymo vehicles are operating. And so it's not everywhere. And it's not to say that if these vehicles did well in a San Francisco, for example, that they would do well in a Washington, D.C. So it's very much a snapshot, but it is encouraging nonetheless.
And of the accidents they got into, how many were their fault?
They were at fault, or they were the striking vehicle in very few crashes. And it often was the case that they were struck from behind, or there was the fault of some other driver. And in fact, when we even looked at the narratives and those crashes where a vulnerable road user, so someone on a bike or a pedestrian or someone on a scooter, it was the case that very few of these instances were their fault. They were often run into by the other road user.
Is this enough to satisfy you that driverless technology is on the right path, that safety needn't be a concern anymore? Never mind, in future as technology advances?
I don't think we have enough to say that safety is not a concern. Safety will always be a concern, especially as these vehicles continue to go to new areas. We'll have to do this type of work again to get further information and evidence that they can drive without a person behind the wheel without a problem. And Waymo's scaling up their operations in a reasonable manner, trying new places and new roadways. But again, a lot of what their deployments are in very well understood areas as well as very ideal conditions. It's not to say that we haven't seen them, for instance, in Canada, where you have winter weather.
Yeah, middle of a snowstorm.
Exactly. We've also seen kind of oddities where they have seen vehicles drive into flooded areas or drive around school buses. And so as they continue to deploy further, you're going to get a lot more of these odd type of behaviors that you wouldn't expect from you or I.
Were there any particular categories where they were particularly well performing or particularly of concern, these driverless vehicles?
Well, where they're well performing, they don't drive off roads, right? So they stay in the lane very well. They don't run into the back of other cars. They're very conservative. And that's unfortunately something that we do as people fairly often. We're not the best. We have certain problems, and these problems have been persistent. Things like speeding, things like driving impaired, being distracted, or even just as simple as using a seatbelt. Those problems are I shouldn't say easily, but automated vehicles don't necessarily have those same type of issues.
Do they have any blind spots? Is there an area where you think the technology needs improvement based on your findings?
It is hard to say. I think the challenge is they just need to get more miles, more exposure, and more odd situations. I mean, I think it's not a blind spot per se, but if you think about all the driving that you do, I think about the driving I do, we handle things on the fly. We improvise very well, and those odd cases, like I'm going down the road and I see a tarp across the road, I change lanes or use the shoulder and slow down. Would that befuddle an automated vehicle? Probably. It could lead to a disaster. So I think that's the main thing is getting it to the point where they can deal with the unexpected on the fly very easily.
And as you point out, too, weather is a huge factor because, I've experienced hydroplaning on Montreal highways where you hit, the puddle doesn't look deep. It looks like just a little bit of water on the highway surface, but it's enough to produce hydroplaning or black ice. That's a big problem in winter cities where you hit black ice and all of a sudden you have zero traction. So I kind of see your point about needing more data about how well they perform. The majority of the 50 million miles you looked at that were driven by Waymo vehicles, that was largely in urban areas too, not so much in rural?
That's right. So the deployments were in the cities, so they're typically lower speed urban deployments. We, in our study, eliminated mileage for people as well as any of the little miles there was or crashes that occurred on freeways. So at the time, they had not deployed on higher speed roads. And certainly it's not a service that you typically get in a rural area as well.
So am I to conclude this is one of those studies that wraps up by saying more study is needed or more data is needed in the long run?
It is, but it also is one that says it's encouraging. It's a step in the right direction. And so for that reason, it is something that needs more study, but also it is promising.
David, thank you very much for the interview. I appreciate your time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
David Kidd, Vice President of Vehicle Research at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in the U.S. Speaking of being out in traffic, it's time for us to
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Stories impacting Montrealers. News impacting Montreal. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
This is an interesting story about a guy who is not acting his age. But I say that pointing out that age is just a number these days. And this individual may impress you. I know he impressed me when I read about his latest exploits. You know, Canada has produced a lot of world champions in various endeavors, but it's not every day that we have someone here in Quebec coming home with 2 world titles in the 70-plus age category. Pierre Plouffe of Mont-Tremblant, back from the 2026 World Over 35 Waterski Championships in Calgary with quite the haul. 2 World Championship gold medals, plus a silver medal for, a little extra bonus. He was competing in the men's over 70 division. He captured the world title in trick and the overall championship, earned the silver in jump. And he also was serving as team captain, helping to lead Canada to a second-place finish in the overall team standings. Pierre Plouffe of the Centre Nautique Pierre Plouffe in Tremblant. Welcome to CJAD.
Oh, well, thank you. Good morning. Or I should say almost good afternoon. And sunny day in our heart.
Yes.
A little drizzle, but that's all right.
I like the way you put that. That's a fun way to put it. A sunny day in our heart. Are you just 70, Pierre, or are you over 70?
I'm going to be 77 in a few days. I like to compete. Actually, the reason I always competed in a little younger age category than mine is, first of all, there's less competition as you go older, I guess. So in the 70 division, there were more countries and more skiers, and it gives me a challenge. A challenge I was kind of lucky this time around because I usually, we have 2 rounds of skiing, and usually the first round I'm sort of on top of things, but this time around I was actually sort of not exactly leading the pack. I was trailing the pack, so it was kind of a surprise, but I guess experience showed me that if you go in the finals and you do what you have to do and you go one trick at a time or one event at a time, that you can come on top. And the funny part is when you don't do so good in the first round, you're sort of going out first in the second round and going out first from the others. And they just didn't answer. They didn't answer the bell, so it made me win the overall. And the jumping, I didn't push it. I just wanted to make sure that I jumped far enough so they couldn't reach me in the overall. The overall was always, well, I guess everybody that's water skiing knows the name of George Athens. That was a guy that I compete, not against, but with, because George was a good friend of mine. But I was in the age of... overall is the thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, winning tricks is important to me, but winning overall is all about being the world champ of this year.
Tell us about that trick category. What did you do? What is your specialty in trick water skiing?
Well, tricks is you got 20 seconds. You have 2 rounds of two passes of 20 seconds each. Sadly, water skiing is probably the only sport that fall. It's over. I mean, you fall, the boat keeps going. You can't swim and have to catch a rope. Any other sport, if you fall, you can always get up and keep going. So you got 20 seconds, and one is what we call a hand trick, like we go with hand. And every trick has a degree of difficulty that the judges, they either give you the trick or don't. They have 3 judges on shore and video. And the second pass is what we call toe. I mean, you have the handles around your foot, and you do sort of like twisting around and jumping the weight and stuff like that. And every trick has this degree of difficulty. They count it. And trick is the event that I'm probably, since I've been back in competition in 2006, I've always concentrated on trick. Even if it's probably the event I don't like, the event that I probably dislike the most, but it's the event that when you are strong enough, it's very hard to be beaten in overall, because nobody likes to. It takes at least 5 times the amount of time on the water. It takes at least 5 more times on the water than it does slalom, and probably 7 more times in jump. Jumping, it's all about guts, I guess, technique and guts. Slalom is a lot of technique, but tricks is a lot of balance, a lot of, and it's a lot of work. It's like figure skating on water. So it's like, but I mean, most of these guys that I'm competing against, they've been tricking the same amount of points forever, and they don't really concentrate on doing it because it takes a lot of time. So it's not my specialty, but it's my strength in winning the overall. Probably if I ask me, jumping is the event I like the most because it's exciting.
In terms of adapting to your age, over the years since you returned to competition, have you had to make allowances for the changes one's body goes through as it ages?
Well, let's put it this way. I do get hurt a little more than I used to, but I'd say that where you see your age is the recovery time. It used to take me 3 days or 3 hours. Now it takes about a week or so to recover when you get hurt. I got a few injuries through the years. I got major injuries, but I got good doctors and good physio, I should say. Mostly good physio, but I have a doctor, not to name him, to name her, Dominique Rouleau, that I pulled my elbow totally out of the socket, and she repaired my elbow, and then she sort of like did a heck of a job, so I can hang on still, and I can still use it. That's the main thing. But so you get hurt through the years, but I mean it's one thing that you have to accept when you do a competition, you do sport in competition, because I mean if you like I always like to say, if you talk to a NASCAR driver and the NASCAR or Formula One driver, and he says, I've been driving Formula One for 20 years and never had an accident. Well, my answer is you probably never won either. I mean, if you're a car racer and you're never involved in an accident, you probably never won. So if you're going to compete and you're going to push yourself to the limit and sometimes over the limit, with chance of winning are slim. So it goes with the sport. And as I'm aging, I got to probably take more care of my food, take more care of my health, take more care of actually the training is not as hard. Well, not as hard. You don't train probably as much on the water as I used to, but I do a lot of on-land training or on-land sort of like stretching and stuff like that. I'm laughing as I'm saying it because I'm never a guy that liked it to stretch or to do any kind of weightlifting. I never did any weightlifting, to tell you the truth. Nowadays, it's probably at my age, stretching is the thing in the morning. Getting out of bed is a gift. So yeah, get out of bed, you start to laugh, and I get on my bike. I have the chance to live around the place I work at the Tremblant Beach, and so I can bike here in the morning, and I like to bike even if it sort of warms me up, and I get to the lake and I go in the water, and I go in the water just about every day, and I like it because now I've got a bunch of people, younger and older. I mean, we have what we call a breakfast club. There's a businessman that comes 3 days a week at 6:30, 7 in the morning, and they get in the water as early as they can, and they can do other things in the daytime.
Pierre, no plans to retire from competition anytime soon? You'll carry on, you think?
The funny part is, I like to say right now, is after the first day of competition this time around, I was thinking, am I going to quit this sport? I mean, I was lucky enough that since I competed all my life since in the 90s, and then I stopped in 90, and then I restarted in 2006. And that was my worst tournament. The first round was my worst since 2006. And I was thinking, well, that's it. I'm packing it in. And then after I won, well, I guess I went from Thursday night to I'm quitting to Saturday afternoon. Well, I've got another 10, 15 years in me. So I guess it goes for a day. But I know, to tell you the truth, first of all, for me, it's a healthy sport. It keeps me healthy physically. It keeps me healthy mentally. And most important, it keeps my people around me, it keeps them healthy. Because if I wouldn't ski, I'd probably they probably wouldn't be nobody would be able to live around me, I guess. So, since I operate a water sports center, I mean, I like what I'm doing, and I like the water sport activities that I'm running here with my partner Sylvie. But I mean, I'd like to mostly, I wouldn't do it that much if I wouldn't ski. If I wouldn't ski in the morning and train in the morning, and especially coaching these youngers and older guys that are trying to. I've got some older guys that haven't competed in 30 or 40 years, and they're back in competition. Ooh. So that's probably the gift that the sport is giving me.
And you're passing along too. I would point out, serving as a role model for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it keeps them, and I introduce them to competition, and some of them 30 years after they practice. Some of them practice for 2 years to come to Calgary this year, and now they got hooked. Now they're thinking of the next one coming. So if they're thinking of the next one coming, I gotta be there too. So next one in 2 years. Our World Championship is every 2 years. So next year we have what we call the Pan Am in Mexico in October, which I intend to go. And the next Worlds is in 2 years in Chicago. And I always have a little, it's always, a velvet in your body when you beat the Americans, because the Americans are very, very strong. And mind you, I like to say, I don't like to brag about it, but I like to say that the only overall winner, not an American this year, was a Canadian, and it was me. So,
more power to you. More power to you, Pierre.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually,
the newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.